After 10 years of marriage, a young female college student kept by Ezekiel came to me with a pregnant belly and insinuated something at me. There's an old hen that doesn't lay eggs but always occupies the nest of a wealthy family. As soon as I raised my hand to tidy up my broken hair, Ezekiel quickly moved sideways to shield her. He moved so fast that it made me laugh. I stared at him and said word by word, "Your newly raised young chick? She's really fresh. Old rooster?" He didn't dare to reply, but his body remained motionless, protecting that delicate girl. Fine. He probably forgot how he had changed from an ordinary Ezekiel to President Ezekiel. Well, then he could just change back. My sister-in-law, Moon, took me shopping in the mall. Just when we arrived at a familiar bird's nest store, the store manager pulled me to the VIP area to introduce the newly arrived imported products. A young woman's voice came from beside us. "Get me all the best bird's nests. I've heard that eating more bird's nests during pregnancy will make the baby born fair and chubby. Do you offer delivery here? I want the freshest ones and will eat them every day." The girl was young and very pretty. Turning around and seeing us, she stared at the store manager and said, "I wonder if I'm considered a big customer since I'm buying so many in your store. Can't I sit in the VIP area for a while?" After saying that, she walked up to me. She looked at me and showed a sweet smile. "Is this sister also here to buy bird's nests? Well, I have to say, it's kind of a waste of money. At your age, no matter how much you eat, you won't be able to look young again." She touched her not-so-obvious pregnant belly. "I'm doing this for the baby in my belly. Otherwise, I usually wouldn't bother to eat these things. My husband said that my skin is good and I don't need to eat all kinds of messy stuff. It's just fine as it is." After finishing speaking, she went on talking to herself. Oops, oops, oops. I'm outspoken. I hope I didn't offend this elder sister. I didn't mean that you're old and unattractive. You take good care of yourself and don't look old at all." The store manager was a shrewd person. At this moment, he smiled at me a bit awkwardly and changed the topic. I carefully examined this young girl. She had red lips, white teeth, a fair face, and was wearing a white dress. She was pure and lovely, like a flower bud about to bloom. I was a bit puzzled. I didn't know her, but her eyes showed blatant hostility towards me. It wasn't until I saw the agarwood bead string on her wrist that something in my heart shattered. That was the peace amulet bracelet that I had once climbed up to the temple on the mountain step by step on my knees to ask the senior monk to bless for Ezekiel. There was a wooden bead accessory among them that I polished by myself, which was unique. Ezekiel had previously told me with great distress that he had lost it, but it turned out that it was now on someone else's wrist. Was it to keep the mother and child safe? I stared at her belly in a daze until my sister-in-law came to meet me. When we were leaving, I clearly saw Moon and that girl's eyes meet. She said with an emotional tone, "Sister-in-law, look at that beautiful woman in the bird's nest store just now. She looks so young but is already going to be a mother." After saying that, she realized she had said something wrong and didn't dare to look at me, because they all knew that I didn't have the chance to become a mother. That was the third year when our company was developing rapidly. Before a business bidding, our competitors had special backgrounds and used improper means. They kidnapped Ezekiel abroad and he was tortured to the verge of death. I negotiated with them in every possible way. Finally, I had no choice but to offer to exchange myself for him. I was hung in that cold iron cage for 5 days. When Ezekiel and the police rescued me, I was covered in blood. I lost the baby and my uterus was also damaged. The doctor said that it would be very difficult for me to get pregnant again. I had never seen a man cry like that. Ezekiel held me tightly, his eyes red and swollen from crying. His voice was hoarse. He raised his hand and swore that we didn't need children, then he immediately had a vasectomy. At that time, he looked at me affectionately. "Jimena, look, it's me who can't have children. We don't need children. I only want you. I just want to be good with you." It turns out that vows don't last forever. A vasectomy can be reversed. Ezekiel didn't come home that night. He called and said that he had to go on a business trip temporarily. "Jimena, I'm busy these days and need to go on a business trip." I held the phone, and thousands of words turned into a long sigh. Ezekiel, those who deceive others' sincere feelings will be doomed. I quickly found out the information about that girl. She hadn't graduated from college yet and was interning at Ezekiel's company. After only 1 month of internship, she stopped going to work and dropped out of school. She became the delicate canary kept by Ezekiel. However, this little bird was very ambitious. She jumped right in front of me. Well, then I'll let them know that I'm no saint. I'm a vicious woman. When Ezekiel came back from his business trip, there was a faint fragrance on his clothes. He took a pair of gemstone earrings and held them up to me. Jimena, these are nice and suit you. The earrings were not big, with a crystal clear luster and a faint pink color. I remembered the photo I saw yesterday. Ezekiel had taken Serena to the latest jewelry exhibition. He bought the most expensive pigeon blood ruby necklace at this exhibition for her. The exhibition organizer praised them as a perfect couple and gave them a pair of pink gemstone earrings as a gift. I took them calmly. At this moment, Ezekiel was beaming with joy, and his eyes were full of tenderness. He didn't look like a middle-aged man at all. No wonder people say that a man is like a flower in his 40s. In a trance, it reminded me of the time when we were in love, and there was also such sincere and unrestrained love. When we were in love in winter, he would bring me breakfast, afraid that it would get cold. He always held it in his arms. When it was in my hands, it was still warm. He would take out the money he had saved for a long time to buy an expensive necklace that I had only mentioned once as a birthday gift for me. Now, I'm only worthy of a free gift after he spends a huge amount of money on his lover. These days, he had been staying with Serena all the time, accompanying her closely during prenatal checkups. They went shopping for jewelry together, bought groceries, laughed and played around, and even went camping in the suburbs by car. He booked the whole venue for her and created a romantic starry sky show. Their tent swayed in the candlelight all night long, the lights were bright, and their bodies overlapped. The two of them were as close as one person. Anyone who saw them would say they were so sweet. Actually, when we first got married, we also went camping, fishing, and enjoyed the mountains and waters whenever we had time. Not long ago during the hot summer, I asked Ezekiel to accompany me to stay in the mountains for 2 days to get close to nature. He told me that there were mosquitoes outside and it would be tiring to travel around, so it was better to have a good rest at home. It seems that the new love is better than the old one. It's fresh to do old things with the new person. Seeing that I wasn't interested, Ezekiel tentatively said, "Don't you like it? Then I'll get you something new." I forced a smile and stared into his eyes. The pink color is too young. I'm afraid I can't wear it out. This color is more suitable for young girls. His face changed a little, and he immediately retorted, "Jimena, you'll always be young in my eyes." Ezekiel, isn't it tiring to coax 2 people with one mouth? Moon had been coming over more frequently these 2 days, testing me everywhere. I guess that Serena must be urging her urgently. Sister-in-law, look, my brother is almost 40. Don't you two really want to adopt a child? Thinking back, she had a bad relationship with a man who was abusive. It was I who helped her deal with that abusive man and took her back to her parents' home to take good care of her when she was bruised and battered. When she was stubbornly trying to make up with that abusive man, I advised and enlightened her. My mother-in-law raised them siblings by herself. After my mother-in-law passed away a few years ago, Ezekiel's closest relative was only this sister. Over the years, I doted on her. Whenever I saw something nice, I would prepare a copy for her. I felt sorry for her being alone. I looked at her with a smile, suppressing my emotions. Your brother doesn't want to, and I don't want to either. After so many years, if we were going to adopt, we would have done it long ago. Her eyes flickered, and she hesitated to speak. But, what will you two do when you get old in the future, sister-in-law? I think deep down, men still want a child. Aren't you afraid that my brother will have an affair outside? I pretended to be firm and patted her hand. No, after so many years, don't I know what kind of person your brother is? How can you think of your brother like that? Not every man is so immoral and has affairs. Her face turned a bit red, and she left in a hurry. The private detective replied that she turned around and went to Serena's place. If we talk about the efforts I made for Ezekiel, it was purely the love between husband and wife, but love can disappear, and I accept that. However, Moon, I treated her with all my heart, regarded her as my own sister, and planned for her future, but in return, I got her deception and betrayal. How did Serena attract Ezekiel? In her family, boys were favored over girls. Her father was addicted to gambling, and her younger brother was good for nothing. They all counted on her to earn money to support the family. So when President Ezekiel, the top shortcut for her, was drunk after a business entertainment, she went into his room. However, she didn't know that not all girls from difficult families in this world want to take shortcuts. I dialed a phone number. A sweet and young voice came from the other side. Jimena. Things are being prepared step by step, and we're just waiting for you. Ezekiel must have had other thoughts long ago. In the past 2 years, he had secretly transferred many of my father's old subordinates away that he thought I didn't know, but I just turned a blind eye. After more than 10 years of loving each other and being married, who would have thought that the knife from the person sleeping beside you would hurt the most? Penny is the person who is still in the company and completely on my side, hiding herself deeply. No one knows our relationship. She also had an experience similar to Serena's. Her name was Pandey. Her several elder sisters got married early. Her younger brother lived off them, sucking their blood. Her family didn't allow her to go to school. By chance, I sponsored her and helped her escape from her original family that she had been desperately trying to escape from. At that time, when she was a teenager, she escaped from home with a withered and yellow ponytail. She pulled my car door and asked me if I could help her. She said that she would pay me back in the future. She was really excellent. She was so excellent that she entered the company through her own efforts after graduation. She didn't need my help and became a senior supervisor in the company in a short time. She was as delicate and young as Serena, but she wasn't a parasitic plant that needed to rely on others. She was a tenacious tree herself. Penny, follow the original plan. Don't alert the enemy, okay, sister? Since the marriage and friendship of more than 10 years have disappeared like smoke, and Ezekiel has broken his vows, I don't want him anymore, but I will take all the money. I will make him go back to what he used to be. I met Ezekiel in college. His family was not well off, and his clothes and appearance were not as glamorous as those of other classmates. Although his family was poor, he had a nice personality. He was neither humble nor pushy, had excellent grades, and it was very comfortable to get along with him. Young love came quickly. Although my parents were not satisfied with his family background at that time, when Ezekiel was chasing me, he took on various part-time jobs. He said that he wanted to earn more money to let me live a good life. When my father was ill, he stayed by the bedside day and night, and he was no worse than me, his own daughter. Finally, my parents agreed to our relationship and recognized his diligence, hard work, and filial piety. At that time, Ezekiel excitedly hugged me and spun me around. He said, Jimena, I don't want you to have a relationship that isn't recognized by your parents. I want us to get the blessings of everyone. Let everyone see that you and I will be happy forever when we are together. Ezekiel, who was 20 years old, had eyes only for me. Could he have thought that the 40-year-old Ezekiel would break his oath with his own hands? After I married Ezekiel, my father gave me his company as my dowry. He said that he believed in the abilities of Ezekiel and me, and that this was the stage for young people. Ezekiel was busy in the study until very late every day when he came home. Coincidentally, since I learned about Serena, I didn't want him to step into my... Without my father's initial support, Ezekiel wouldn't have become the respected President Ezekiel he is today. Ezekiel was busy in the study until very late every day when he came home. Coincidentally, since I learned about Serena, I didn't want him to step into my room. The private detective was highly skilled. It was worth the large amount of money I spent. He even sent me screenshots of the chats between the two of them. I don't allow you to touch that old hag. That old woman is so dirty. I'm pregnant now. You should also remain chaste for me. Ezekiel replied dotingly, Yes, my little darling. I swear that I sleep in the study. I didn't touch her. I just want to kiss you. Did the baby make trouble for you today? There were hundreds of messages in the chat, running through every day of Ezekiel's life. Who would have thought that the boss of such a big company, who was usually sparing with words and had a serious face, would also be like a young and impulsive guy who fell head over heels in love, patiently coaxing his little sweetheart. We were also so passionate more than 10 years ago. Well, let bygones be bygones. Serena was getting more and more impatient between the lines. I'm going to give birth soon. When on earth are you going to take me home? I don't want my child to be illegitimate. Do you just want me to have an illegitimate child? I don't want to give birth. I'll have an abortion. Whoa. Serena's tears made Ezekiel abandon an important meeting of the company. He hurriedly went to coax his sweetheart. In a blink of an eye, Serena proudly told her girlfriends that her man could abandon everything for her. I didn't want to see their affectionate scenes anymore. After receiving Penny's message, I immediately went to the company. When the receptionist saw me, she was very surprised. Yes, it had been a long time since I showed up at the company. In the past 2 years, I had become more and more afraid of the cold and felt tired easily. Ezekiel hugged me with great distress. Honey, you just have a good rest at home. I'll take care of our company. I don't want you to be too tired. I was immersed in his consistent affection. Thinking that we had worked hard for so long and the company had grown stronger, it was time to take a break. I dressed up and rushed to the important meeting that Ezekiel was about to skip. Everyone, long time no see. Someone looked puzzled and said, Madam, why are you here? I interrupted them. In the past, everyone called me President Jimena. I don't know. It's just that after a few years of rest, it seems that someone has forgotten whose family the company originally belonged to. This is an important meeting. Since President Ezekiel is not available, of course I'll attend it. I've been keeping an eye on the company situation every day at home. Let's start the meeting. They looked at each other in dismay. Someone secretly sent a message. Penny was dressed in a business suit and her eyes lit up when she saw me. I nodded slightly to her. Shortly after the meeting host started, Ezekiel arrived in a hurry. Serena must be very angry. Just a second ago, she was happily convinced that Ezekiel regarded her as the most important person. Ezekiel looked at me in surprise and asked, Jimena, why are you here? I stared at him with amusement, not missing the panic in his eyes. This is an important meeting. Since you had an urgent matter, of course I'll preside over it. Why does everyone keep asking me this question? Can't I come to my own company? He immediately explained, I didn't mean that, Jimena. I mean you didn't tell me. I'll send someone to pick you up. I looked at the employees from all over the place in the audience. This is an important meeting that the whole group has been preparing for several months. Let's continue. It's the hard work of our colleagues. Ezekiel, what important thing made you cancel it temporarily? The veteran employees nodded in approval one after another. Penny told me that Ezekiel had recently suspended meetings from time to time, which had already caused dissatisfaction among some people. He was stunned for a moment and couldn't say a word. I pulled him to sit down and said expressionlessly, continue the meeting. Throughout the meeting, he kept looking at his mobile phone. I saw that he was so anxious. How could Serena have an abortion? She just wanted to get a proper status as soon as possible. She wanted to be Mrs. Zhou. The company reception after the meeting, Serena even came in a dress. I was holding a wine glass and chatting with the former veteran employees. I pretended not to see that Ezekiel and Serena were very close to each other. His eyes were fixed on her tightly, and his body involuntarily protected her. He also treated me like this many years ago. At that time, there was a fire alarm in the company building. He rushed to the floor above where I was with his hair in a mess. Everyone else was running downstairs, but only he was going against the flow. After finding me, he nervously pulled me and ran. He also once regarded me as more important than himself. I took a sip of wine to suppress the bitterness in my heart. At the corner of the fire escape, Ezekiel hugged Serena tightly and said in a doting tone, there are too many people here. Don't get bumped. I'll ask someone to take you home. You said you wanted to come and have fun. Have you had enough fun, my little ancestor? Serena pouted and kissed Ezekiel, I just missed you. You left me and rushed to the company today. Humph. Both I and the baby are angry. You should divorce that old woman quickly, or I'll hide and let you never see me again. Ezekiel stroked her head. Don't be angry, baby. I'll ask the lawyer to draw up an agreement. You also know that for people like us, just the division of property won't be that simple. Serena paused for a moment. She's an old hag who can't give birth to a child. Why should she occupy the position of Mrs. Zhou? In ancient times, having no children was one of the 7 grounds for divorce. She should be divorced. Do you still want to give her money? Then she shook Ezekiel's arm again. Do you think I'm bad? I just can't bear to see the money you've worked so hard to earn being taken away by her. She's been living a luxurious life as a rich lady at home all day. Why? Ezekiel chuckled and tapped her on the forehead. You're so childish. Jimena has been with me for so many years. It's impossible to let her leave without a penny. We have to give her something appropriate. Otherwise, I'll lose face too. Serena said coquettishly. Why not? She hasn't even given you a child. If you give her more, our baby will get less in the future. The doctor said I'm pregnant with twins. I don't care about your money, but our baby must be happy. Ezekiel didn't say anything. I gritted my teeth and quietly left. Fine, my father's original company. We worked hard together. When we first negotiated business, who would recognize Ezekiel? Everyone gave us face because of my father and me, but now it's said that I'm with him. I'd like to see how much Ezekiel will give me. Penny took some materials and met me in a coffee shop. Here are the materials of all the veteran employees who used to work for your father, as well as their recent turnover situations. I've privately investigated each of them and I've marked out those who can be used for us. Let the marginalized employees leave first to connect with the new company, stagger the time, and don't alert Ezekiel. Wait for my notice, and then take the orders and leave together. I've contacted several close friends, and they will give me a big help. Since I can build up Wanhui, I can also bring it down. Penny didn't have any doubts, but she looked at me with some heartache. Sister, it's clearly his fault. Why can't we let the person who made the mistake leave without a penny? Wanhui is also your hard work. I smiled. The name Wanhui is so dirty now. It's worth it to let the Wanhui group be reborn and change back to the Jimena family. Ezekiel is scheming. He's been reluctant to bring up the divorce, because he doesn't want to return the company to me. Coincidentally, I don't want to give it to him at all either. I had already asked a lawyer. When it comes to company issues, just talking about his affair, it's impossible to make Ezekiel lose everything. The detective said that Serena was getting impatient. She complained to Moon, Little Moon, I also feel sorry for you guys. Ezekiel has worked hard to earn money. If your sister-in-law takes away half of it, you'll also get much less money. Your blood siblings, the twins in my belly, are your nephews. We're a family. Moon gritted her teeth and said, the predecessor of my brother's company was the dowry that Jimena's father gave her. I don't want her to take it away either. My brother worked hard to grow it. At that time, the company was so small. My brother hasn't brought up the divorce yet. He must be planning something. Serena subconsciously muttered, it would be great if she wasn't here. It would be so much easier. Then everything would belong to Ezekiel. I could marry Ezekiel immediately. I listened to the recording numbly. Summer had passed, and it was getting cooler. It was time to show our cards. The initiative had to be in my hands to catch them off guard. I sent a message. Do Serena's parents and younger brother know that she's hooked up with a rich man? When Serena's parents brought a group of relatives to make a scene at the company, Penny was in the crowd and gave me a live broadcast. Several middle-aged women sat on the ground, making a fuss and rolling around. They didn't care about their daughter's face at all. Ask your boss to come out. He got my daughter pregnant. He should marry her quickly. You rich people are really bullying us poor common people. Pay up. If you don't marry her, pay up. The Wanhui company was quite famous locally and immediately attracted the media to take pictures with a click. These days, people love to watch the drama of the mistress making a scene with the legal wife. Serena's hair was in a mess. She covered her face and was on the verge of crying. Ezekiel's face darkened. He asked the security guards to disperse the crowd and drove them out. He only sent his assistant to take away Serena, who had red eyes from crying. He didn't dare to reply and planned to handle it coldly. The employees were pointing and whispering, all watching the drama. Of course, I chose the right time. In autumn, the contracts of several cooperative companies expired. They were all big deals and needed to be signed again. At this time, it's not a good thing for the company's boss to have negative news. Penny, get the people in the new company ready. There will be work soon. The fire wasn't burning fiercely enough yet. Serena's parents and younger brother arrogantly made a scene at the villa. I was watering the flowers in the garden. They made a big noise and trampled on the flowers and plants that I had taken good care of. Looking at everything in the villa, their eyes were rolling around constantly. I don't know how they communicated when they went back. Serena's younger brother helped her and sat down on the sofa with a plop. His tone was extremely vulgar. Are you that old hag? Your husband slept with my sister. I advise you to be sensible and make way quickly. Her father opened his coat and stubbed out his cigarette on the genuine leather sofa. I stood calmly. The reporters who had been lying in ambush around rushed in. They didn't feel ashamed at all. After all, compared with becoming the wife of a wealthy family, face was nothing. Ezekiel rushed back anxiously. When he saw the scene, he couldn't hold it in anymore and shouted with a dark face, "Security guards, where are the security guards? Who let them in? Actually, if you think about it carefully, without my arrangement, how could they easily get into the high-end residence?" I pinched my thigh, sobbed, and looked at Ezekiel resolutely. Ezekiel, they said that this girl is pregnant with your child. You. Ezekiel hurriedly explained, it's not what you think, Jimena, it's not. It was just an accident. I was drunk. I was so angry that I felt dizzy and sat aside. I took the opportunity to send a message to Penny. Get ready to close the net. The house was in a mess, and the reporters left satisfied. There were overwhelming reports of the mistress making a scene at the legal wife's home. They were criticized harshly. After Moon rushed over, she immediately supported Serena. Brother, Cece is pregnant. Don't make her angry. It's all her parents' fault. They're like lingering ghosts. She's really pitiful. Serena's eyes were red. She shook Ezekiel's arm. My parents forced me. They forced me to tell them whose child I was carrying. If I didn't tell them, they would force me to abort my child. They beat me and dragged me here. I didn't want to make a scene here. Ezekiel noticed her swollen face, and his anger dissipated instantly. He comforted her with a pained look. Then he turned around and saw me. He explained guiltily, Jimena, it's not what you think. I glanced at Serena's pregnant belly. Ezekiel, let's get divorced. Things have come to this. There's no need to say more. I'll ask the lawyer to draw up the agreement. Moon and Serena exchanged a look. Moon subconsciously said, Sister-in-law, my brother has only had you for all these years. You should be content. Other people of my brother's age already have several children. Mom passed away with regrets. You're the sinner of our Ezekiel family. Divorce is fine, but don't even think about taking away the property of our Ezekiel family. I stared closely at Ezekiel. What do you say, Ezekiel? Why do you think I don't have a child? He didn't dare to look me straight in the eye. Just as he was about to speak, he was interrupted by Serena. She covered her stomach and said, I have a stomachache. Ezekiel anxiously put his arm around her and quickly left. I looked at Moon, who was glaring at me. You're so used to enjoying good things that you can't even tell what's yours and what's mine. I forcefully snatched the bag worth over 100,000 yuan from her hand. This was also given by me. Some people don't deserve others' kindness. While Ezekiel was tied up by Serena and accompanied her in the hospital to take care of her pregnancy, my new company, the Jimena family, began to snatch the orders of the Wanhui group. Most of the old employees had already taken their orders and jumped ship. Both the clients and the employees, seeing the overwhelming negative news about the boss of the Wanhui group having an affair, lost hope in the company and one after another turned to the new Jimena family, which was exactly the same as the Wanhui group. Ezekiel was affectionate with Serena in the hospital, while we were seizing territory in the rear. When I handed the divorce agreement to him, his eyes were full of shock. Take a look. Since you had an affair during the marriage, shouldn't you leave the house with nothing? Should I throw out all your things for you? Serena subconsciously shouted, impossible. Why? Because he swore. Ezekiel, when we got married, you said that if you let me down, you wouldn't take anything. I really regret that I didn't sign a prenuptial agreement with you back then. Just because the company was given to me by my father. Ezekiel wanted to come over and hold my hand. His tone was cold. Jimena, do we have to make it this far? Cece is just a young girl. You don't have to be so intolerant of her. After she gives birth, they'll live elsewhere and won't come near you. I carefully examined him. Ezekiel, do you want to have one at home and another one outside? So you're such a disgusting person. His eyes turned cold. In that case, then let my lawyer come to talk about the division. It's impossible for me to leave the house with nothing. The company is now in my name, and people won't recognize you anymore. The house we're living in now can be given to you. For the rest, Jimena, don't even think about it. People of our status, just like President Chen of Qiming, he has several outside, and his wife just turns a blind eye. Why can't you do the same? I almost vomited out of disgust. Serena showed a smug smile and looked at me provocatively. He finally said what was on his mind. I sneered in my heart. I patted Serena's face. You'd better hold on tight. He's longing to be like President Chen and wants to have several. You. Her face changed with anger, and she almost lost her innocent look. I turned around and walked out of the ward. Everything was as I expected. Ezekiel quickly asked the lawyer to draft an agreement. He actually only wanted to give me the villa we were living in now. I tore it up at once, showing a determined look that I wouldn't negotiate at all. Ezekiel said, don't think about getting half of it. I'll compensate you with some cash. I have to plan for my child. The reason why the Wanhui group has developed to what it is now, you know very well how many clients came because of my father. So the Wanhui group must be given to me. Moon was angry. How dare you? You're really ambitious. Without my brother's management, how could it have grown? I slapped her. It's none of your business when we're talking. Ezekiel's face was full of calculations. That's impossible. What exactly do you want for the division? How about this? I don't even want to see your name anymore. It's too disgusting. I don't want the company. Convert it into cash for me. How much is the company's market value now? Give me half of the cash. We'll settle the accounts and have nothing to do with each other from now on. You're the one at fault. After all these years, do you really want to go to court? He frowned and thought about it. Penny had already bribed the finance department and showed him the recent fake financial statements and the company's business situation. According to the company's development, a one-time buyout would, of course, be more beneficial for him. It's just that he could never have imagined that almost all the people in the Wanhui group had been poached by me, and the remaining people on his side had negligible abilities. The company seemed normal to him because the poached people still pretended to go to work in the company every day. In fact, they were doing the work for the new company, just putting on an act for Ezekiel's people. Even the poached clients had signed confidentiality contracts and hadn't leaked anything about the new company, Ezekiel conceded. I'll think about it again. Moon and Serena were unwilling to give me so much. Their eyes seemed to want to devour me. I was pressing for the property division, and it was them that I was forcing. People can be forgiven for their sins, but those who bring trouble upon themselves will surely perish. I had also been in the business world for a long time and set up schemes. It was nothing difficult. After I revealed the news that I wanted to go climbing in the suburbs to relax, someone took action. After all, my post said, when you're sad, go climbing Qingliang Mountain. The scenery can heal your heart and you can travel alone. I chose a weekday. There weren't many people on the mountain. Late autumn was approaching, and it was already a bit desolate. Halfway up the mountain, I deliberately took an uninhabited path that led to the cliff on one side. the two tails behind me had been following me since the foot of the mountain. It was time. I faced the mountain scenery and exposed my back. They slowly approached. Just as they were about to reach out and push me hard, suddenly several people rushed out and restrained them. They screamed in pain. I turned around and smiled as I pulled off their masks. Surprisingly, they were Serena's gambler father and younger brother. How stupid. They didn't even know to hire a hitman to kill someone. The highly paid retired bodyguards with excellent martial arts skills brought a mobile phone over. The video clearly recorded their action of pushing me down. I threatened them, attempted murder. You'll be in prison for a long time. There's conclusive evidence photographed and recorded by passers-by. If you confess who's behind this, you might get a reduced sentence. They were so scared that they knelt down on the spot. It's all my sister. She said that if you died she could marry into the Ezekiel family smoothly and Ezekiel wouldn't have to give you any money. It has nothing to do with us. Go to my sister. I asked the last question, does Ezekiel know that she's doing this? They shook their heads frantically. I don't know, but Moon knows. She said she would hire a hitman and fake it as if you fell while climbing the mountain. Serena thought it was a waste to pay for it, so she simply asked us to do it. Please let us go. We'll never dare to do it again. After gagging them, I stood by the cliff again. There was a net set up 2 meters below, which was the second layer of our safety measures. I posed in the same position as before and jumped down with an ha. Then I was pulled up by the bodyguards. I patted the dust off my hands. Edit the 2 videos together and send the video of them succeeding to Serena and Moon. When Moon and Serena received the video, they were overjoyed. Moon excitedly said, "Old woman, don't even think about getting a penny. You still want to take away my brother's money. You're really ungrateful." When that clear male voice appeared, I couldn't help but shudder. Tell your father and your brother to take the money and go to another place and never come back. Tell your father that if he gambles again I'll break his hands. This matter should never be mentioned again. I didn't even know you two were so bold. If it hadn't shown some signs and been noticed by me, you would have even kept it from me. I'll call the police to look for people in a few days. You two stay away. It was gloomy and terrifying, showing everywhere that these past 10+ years had been like a joke to me. Was it that people's hearts were changeable, or had I never really seen him clearly? Whether he was involved from the beginning or not, his helping to cover up after the fact was certain. When I appeared in the villa with my head wrapped in bandages and sitting in a wheelchair, Ezekiel tried his best to suppress his emotions, but his hands were clenched into fists, and the veins on his hands were bulging. Moon and Serena screamed in fright on the spot. I smiled and looked at the 3 of them. Ezekiel, transfer the money now. Go and get divorced right away. I'm really lucky. I almost made you a widower. Your sweetheart's father and brother. When do you think I should hand them over to the police station? Will they confess? I'll only give you half an hour to transfer the money and get the divorce certificate. Their faces turned pale. Ezekiel suddenly came over with a concerned look. Jimena, how did you get hurt? What are you talking about? I don't understand. I admit that I'm wrong, but I wanted to have a child to keep you company. I could tell that you were lonely at home by yourself, right? Isn't it okay for me to want to have my own child? Serena came to her senses from the shock and looked at him in disbelief. I burst out laughing and played the recording from the bug on Serena's phone. The clear evidence of their conspiracy to create an accidental murder was played out, including Ezekiel's remarks about covering up. The 3 of them looked at each other in dismay. After a while, Moon suddenly wanted to rush over to snatch the phone. She was stopped by the bodyguards. All right, hurry up and transfer the money. Let's get down to business. Ezekiel didn't have that much cash at all. He first transferred the money from the company. When I got the divorce certificate in my hand, I finally let out a sigh of relief. Ezekiel, hurry back to the company and take a look. Oh, right. You also need to clean up the mess. Your sister is going to be arrested soon. As for your sweetheart, she should be glad that she's pregnant. When Ezekiel was furious, I had already been escorted away by the bodyguards. Penny was happily waiting for me to give a speech at the new company. All those old faces no longer had to go there to put on an act. When Ezekiel returned to the company, he found that most of the people had already left. He was right. Some people indeed didn't recognize me, but they recognized money. During the 2 years when I was recuperating, since I was the main person in charge of the company, some procedures always required my signature, which was really troublesome. Ezekiel asked me to change it to his name, and I simply didn't refuse. He said that no matter whose name was on Wanhui, the company, it belonged to both Ezekiel and Jimena. If I hadn't been so confused back then, I wouldn't have gone through so much trouble to register a new company. Fortunately, everything was under my control. At that time, Ezekiel was indulging in Serena's sweet words all day long, and later he was tied up in the hospital to help Serena keep her pregnancy. Our plan of substituting one thing for another went very smoothly. When he found that all the major clients had been taken away completely, I was holding a cocktail party at the new company. Penny got a bit drunk for the first time. She held my hand, her eyes sincere. Jimena, congratulations on your new life. Penny, thank you too. Sister didn't misjudge you. If it weren't for you, I'm afraid. We hugged each other and cried. Penny wiped away her tears. Sister, what are you talking about? If it hadn't been for you back then, I would have been taken back to get married. Maybe I would have been trapped in some small mountain village because of the betrothal gifts. Sister, you have given me a new life. All right. Everything will be wonderful in the future. Penny, let's both be well. On Ezekiel's side, he was in a terrible mess trying to deal with the mess in the company. He couldn't even care about it when Moon was taken away by the police. I provided all the videos and photos of passers-by that were compliant and legal and could be used as evidence that the lawyers needed. There was also my injury assessment report. They couldn't escape the 2 charges of attempted intentional homicide and hiring someone to commit murder. After all, Ezekiel didn't participate in the murder, so there was no law to punish him, but when he found that Wanhui was on the verge of bankruptcy, he flew into a rage. Serena, who was on probation, was accidentally pushed down. She bled profusely and gave birth prematurely. Twins are inherently more dangerous than a single baby. She was constantly scolded by her mother, who had lost her husband and sons all day long. Her emotions fluctuated, and her dreams were shattered. She almost died this time. She was sent to the hospital and had her uterus removed to save her life. The 2 skinny children were being treated in the incubator. Wanhui couldn't hold on for a year and went bankrupt in the end. At that time, the whole industry knew that the Jimena family's new company was full of vitality. The employees' benefits were even better than before. The boss was the original wife who had been betrayed by the boss of the former Wanhui company, full of wisdom and with a far-reaching vision. The second in command, General Pan, was even more decisive and capable, a dazzling and strong woman. When Serena was discharged from the hospital and went home, she found that the house and the car had been taken back by me. Those didn't belong to her in the first place. Before getting the divorce certificate, the lawyer had already arranged everything for me. She was homeless with the 2 children in her arms, and Ezekiel was following her. However, he had embezzled the company's money before. During the liquidation, everything under his name was sold to pay off the debts. He went back to being as poor as he was before he married me. How nice! Isn't this the sweet relationship that suits him and the young Serena? But Serena didn't seem to think so. One night, she secretly ran away, leaving the children behind. She was so naive. Where did she think she could go during her probation period? Ezekiel knelt in front of me with the 2 children in his arms, unshaven. Jimena, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Please forgive me, okay? Look, let these 2 children call you Mom. Let's be a family of 4 and be good together, okay? I ignored him and walked away. Serena, who was sent back by the police, quarreled with him and they went back to the rental house. Every day was chaotic, with the children crying non-stop. It's hard to go from luxury to frugality. Ezekiel had fallen from heaven to earth and had long been dispirited. Everyone who had known him before was mocking him. This kind of blow was probably even more painful than killing him. I heard that Ezekiel had fallen in love with drinking and didn't work all day long. He would even hit Serena when things didn't go his way a little bit. Penny was animated when she told me about it. It's really karma, sister. He abandoned the beautiful jade with his own hands and went to kiss the smelly stone in the gutter. He brought it all upon himself. There's nothing we can do. Ha ha ha. I helplessly tapped her on the forehead. Hurry up and sign the contract with President Chen of Chi Ming. You can tell him about this. I guess he'll love to hear it. People in the circle said that he has dismissed his fourth and fifth mistresses recently. I'll tell it when having dinner with President Chen's wife next time. She'll surely love to hear it too. I'm just too lazy to listen. After all, it took me over 10 years to see a person clearly. I still have time. It's spring again, and everything is coming back to life.